Donald Trump is getting put in his place. California Governor Newsom is showing Donald who is the alpha, who has the power, and California Governor Gavin Newsom is doing it powerfully, with moral clarity, with moral authority, and he is not holding back, putting Trump in his place. So after California and the state of Oregon filed an emergency motion against Donald Trump after Trump sought to circumvent the federal judge who Trump appointed in 2019's order from Saturday, blocking Donald Trump from utilizing Oregon National Guard troops, Trump then tried to deploy California National Guard troops in Portland, Oregon, to bring the California National Guard to invade Portland, Oregon, and Governor Newsom said, "Get the hell out of here, Donald." Governor Newsom and his attorney general immediately filed a lawsuit, and they brought it in front of that same Trump-appointed judge, Judge Immergut, and the judge ruled against Donald Trump and basically said, "You are violating my court orders." Emergency restraining order granted. Sunday night, Governor Newsom posted the following: "Breaking. We just won in court again. A federal judge blocked Donald Trump's unlawful attempt to deploy 300 of our National Guard troops to Portland. The court granted our request for a temporary restraining order, halting any federalization, relocation, or deployment of any Guard members to Oregon from any state." So what Trump was trying to do was said, "Oh, okay, federal judge who was appointed by Donald Trump in 2019, you said we can't call up the Oregon National Guard, so we're going to call up California's. We're going to call up Texas. We're going to call up DC. Ha ha ha. And run around your order, Trump appointed judge." And Governor Newsom said, "No way." And Trump's abuse of power won't stand. Now, Governor Newsom, before that lawsuit that was brought by California and Oregon was filed, said the following: "After a federal court blocked his attempt to federalize Oregon National Guard, Donald Trump is deploying 300 California National Guard personnel into Oregon. They are on their way right now. We are taking this fight back to court. The public cannot stay silent in the face of such reckless and authoritarian conduct by the President of the United States." That's what I mean when I say moral clarity. Just calling it out what it is. Donald Trump is a fascist. Donald Trump is an authoritarian, and a pathetic and weak one at that, humiliating our great nation and our great Constitution. Governor Newsom's press account then posted the following in response to the court victory: "This is a big effing deal for democracy." And when the news broke that Donald Trump was deploying California National Guard to invade Portland, Oregon, the following was posted by Governor Newsom: "Red alert, Trump is illegally sending 300 California Guard members to Portland, flouting the law and treating judges as enemies. This comes after a Trump-appointed judge rejected the White House's justification for deploying federal troops. Speak out now." And you will recall that Donald Trump's right hand, Stephen Miller, basically called that Trump-appointed judge from 2019 like a terrorist enabler. And this also comes when a judge in South Carolina who ruled against Donald Trump had her house burned down in a very suspicious act as well. Governor Newsom posted the following: "The commander-in-chief is using the U.S. military as a political weapon against American citizens. Do not stay silent in the face of such reckless and authoritarian conduct." It was in response to Governor Pritzker also saying, "This evening, President Trump is ordering 400 members of the Texas National Guard for deployment to Illinois, Oregon, and other locations within the United States." And he goes on to say that no officials from the federal government called me directly to discuss or coordinated. Horrific conduct by an authoritarian president, an authoritarian pretender at that. Governor Newsom, in response to the court victory, also says, "Huge night for the rule of law, terrible night for Trump's authoritarianism." Now, Donald Trump's sycophant, Greg Abbott, who hasn't even dealt with the dead children in Texas. There are still missing dead children, hundreds Over 100 children, over 100 people have died. Dozens of children were killed in Texas in the flash floods, which they were not prepared for because they didn't utilize the funds that former President Biden gave them to have an emergency system. Instead, they took it for personal bonuses for themselves. Oh yeah, where was Donald Trump's FEMA on that July 4th weekend? Well, Kristi Noem was just out and about enjoying herself and did not authorize urban search and rescue teams that were needed to get into Texas immediately for significant periods of time afterwards. She didn't sign off on it because she demanded $100,000 write-off authority for herself that she had to personally sign. And then she shut down the emergency call centers as well leading up to these flash floods. It was like a 4-minute walk for the children to get up to the top of the hill had there been emergency sirens. Could you imagine if that was a Democratic run area, what the outcry would be by all people in the United States? But now Greg Abbott, they want to reopen that Camp Mystic, by the way, while dead children are still missing. And Governor Greg Abbott posts the following: I fully authorized the president to call up 400 members of the Texas National Guard to ensure safety for federal officials. You can either fully enforce protection for federal employees or get out of the way and let the Texas Guard do it. No guard can match the training, skill, and expertise of the Texas National Guard. They defend our country with pride. America must also know that Texas still has thousands of National Guard assisting the border security. Seriously, what the hell is this? And that's why I'm glad that you have governors with moral clarity like Governor Gavin Newsom calling out this pathetic conduct. So do you all see what Donald Trump is doing? He's now calling on red state governors, his sycophants, like Governor Abbott and other red state governors, to use their National Guard in blue states, literally having red states invade blue states. That's what they want to do. No wonder Donald Trump idolizes the Confederate generals. No wonder he wants to see those statues re-erected, because he is doing some of the same, and let me just call it out, treasonous, traitorous crap that we saw back then. This is utterly pathetic, and no American who values our Constitution should stand for this at all. But Governor Newsom, in response to Greg Abbott's ridiculous, traitorous post, says the following: sorry, champ, the Constitution's in your way. A respected federal judge, who, by the way, Trump appointed, just ruled you can't send your troops to Oregon. And just think that Abbott is so giddy about sending Texas troops to invade a blue state. Seriously, how utterly traitorous and treasonous and Civil War-like that is. How can anybody stand for this and call themselves an American? It pisses me off. Governor Newsom then posts the following: America, do not stay silent in the face of reckless and authoritarian conduct by the President of the United States. Speak up. Donald Trump is an authoritarian thug. He is using the U.S. military as a political weapon against America's citizens. Fire Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is a very sick man.
My teeth are very important to me. Healthy mouth, healthy life, right? Well, if you're part of the 30% of Americans who grind their teeth, then your smile needs protection. And there's no better solution than Remy's Custom Fit Night Guard. Both dentists and teeth grinders recommend Remy because a custom fit night guard is the best way to protect your teeth. And Remy is 80% less than the dentist and way easier. Here's how it works. You receive your impression kit straight to your door. Remy gives you step-by-step instructions to get your perfect impression. Remy ships you your custom fit night guard made in the US in Las Vegas. Get your night guard back and start protecting your teeth. This process is easy and very streamlined. Their entire team is really invested in making sure that you get the best product possible. The best part is, Remy is so confident you'll get a perfect fit that they offer a 45-night perfect fit guarantee or your money back. No waiting rooms, no overpriced bills, just a better way to protect your teeth while you sleep. Try Remy risk-free at shopremy.com/Meidas and use code Meidas to get up to 50% off your night guard at checkout. That's 50% off at shopremy, REMI.com/Meidas with code Meidas. Thank you, Remy, for sponsoring this episode.
Have you seen these videos of some of these mascot-looking protesters, peaceful protesters wearing mascots in Portland now? Because this is what the Portland. This is what Trump is saying. Looks like a war zone. People dressed up like a frog. And then Governor Newsom goes, Donald Trump is illegally deploying California's National Guard to Oregon to handle an inflatable frog. He's testing the limits of the law to see how far he can go to take control of you. And then he goes, Stephen Miller thinks governors can ship National Guard troops across state lines to be used against American citizens. Retweet if you think Stephen Miller should be fired. Horrific stuff. And then, Stephen Miller's post. The core purpose of the organized terrorist attacks on Department of Homeland Security is to reverse through assault and assassination the 2024 election mandate to expel the millions of illegal aliens the Biden administration criminally imported into our cities. They seek to overturn votes with violence. Do you see the fascist and vile language from that vile piece of trash, Stephen? What are they even talking about? This is not the America I've ever known. The America I know is one of empathy, is one of inclusion. It's one of building up and lifting up people, not punching down. At least that's the America I want to live in. I want to live in the America where you have people like Martin Luther King Jr. talking about, I have a dream. I want to think about the melting pot that I learned about growing up and how we are all able to, we the people, come together, support, defend, protect our Constitution, and be in this together, not sending troops in the National Guard from one state to invade another state, not to have masked ICE agents disappearing kids in Chicago, zip tying children, engaging in chemical warfare, throwing pepper spray at children, and actually police officers, state police officers too, engaging in crimes against humanity, war crimes taking place in the United States as we speak, with a Trump Gestapo militarized forces, Black Hawk helicopters, tanks rolling into cities, hurting people, disappearing people, sending them to concentration camps called Alligator Alcatraz. The hell is going on in this country? And it's why it's important that we have people like Governor Newsom standing up. Governor Newsom also posted, after shutting down the federal government and voting to do nothing about the imminent health insurance premium spike, House Republicans have now gone on a multi-week vacation. That's right. They're vacationing all week. They're not even here showing up to even try to negotiate. They don't want to talk to Democrats. And one of the major reasons is Trump also wants to bury the Epstein files, because if Congress goes back in session, Adelita Grijalva from Arizona's 7th Congressional District, she gets sworn in and she becomes the 218th signature on the discharge petition, which would allow for a vote to finally release the Epstein files. So I think Trump wants to shut down the government forever. Honestly, I think what Trump wants to do is rule as a dictator, no government, for the next 3 years, if he can. And it is why that we the people need to have our voices be heard right now. As Governor Newsom says, Donald Trump and the GOP just aren't for the American people. If you're living in America right now, you're either on an Affordable Care Act plan, Medicare, or Medicaid, most likely, okay? And so we know he gutted Medicaid, we know he hurt Medicare, and now the Affordable Care Act subsidies are about to expire, meaning if you're on an Affordable Care Act plan and your premiums are $300 a month, they may go up to $900 a month, $2,000 a month. How are you going to pay $25,000 to $35,000 a year in health insurance if you're making between $65,000 and $85,000? Heck, if you're making more than that, how are you going to be able to afford $30,000 a year? It's why those subsidies were so important. They brought down the cost of health insurance, and you know that. But the MAGA Republicans in their Club Rose Garden and 90,000 square foot golden ballroom, whatever, they don't recognize what Americans are going through. They don't recognize, or they do, and they enjoy the suffering. It may be both of those. Governor Newsom then posts, think the GOP's shutdown-driven healthcare crisis won't affect you? Think again. If Republicans don't reverse course, average enrollee premiums on California's health insurance exchange are set to skyrocket come January. He also writes, after some of the biggest healthcare cuts in American history, Trump and his Republicans are now promoting one of the biggest healthcare costs in American history. They can lie to our faces all they want, but that's what the GOP government shutdown is all about. Now, finally, on Friday, Governor Newsom participated in something called Fortnite Friday with Gavin Newsom, and this was hosted by a guy by the name of Connor Eats Pants. And now Connor Eats Pants hosts these Fortnite Fridays, and here was Governor Newsom playing with Connor Eats Pants. They were streaming, and you'll see the video game in the background, but this is where, the people talk about whatever the kind of issues of the day are while playing Fortnite. As Jack Cocherella says, I don't really think any Democrat can match what Newsom brings in this clip. Lighting up Elon Musk, Trump, Epstein, and then also in the video game, doing what you got to do in the video game. Make sure you watch this. This is incredible. And he talks about Trump covering up the Epstein files, how pathetic the Republican Party has become. Listen to what he's saying. If video games aren't, and you think, you don't have to get distracted by the video game. Just listen to what Governor Newsom plays. If you like video games, I don't play video games much anymore, but if you like video games like my nephews love video games, you'll doubly enjoy this. So let's watch this clip. Let's play it.
You think about Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay. I just would say this. We brought up Elon. I just think it's interesting. Elon tweets out that Trump's in the Epstein files. 2 days later, Pam Bondi says there are no Epstein files. I'll leave it at that.
Was interesting.
Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, they seem to be a little bit of, antsy about that. Like, they really don't want that to come out.
I don't know.
In a world where that information does come out and say the president is implicated, what do you think happens? Do you think they impeach him? Do you think they do anything about it?
Well, I think I don't know what the hell's happened in this country. What this guy gets away with on a daily goddamn basis. And the fact that in many ways, all these guys that literally were outraged by the Epstein files and pissed off at Trump, they all seem to now be making excuses for the son of a bitch on this stuff.
I mean, I think a lot of them are just stupid and follow whatever their media heads tell them. Like, if they're like, I'm done talking about Epstein, I trust my friends in the government, then they just listen to it and they don't ask any more questions.
It's, look, part of me is, it's not my obsession, but I find it remarkable how much focus it was of the far right, and now, their own guys being implicated, and all of a sudden
they thought it was going to be like a Democrat, like a pedophilia ring.
Of course,
it's really just more of an elite rich person pedophilia ring.
Dude, there's a darkness in all this, and the conspiracy and the Pizzagate stuff. I mean, it's led to a lot of serious and crazy things. People acting on it, people being violent around it, people being lied to and manipulated. It ain't right. And I hope I hope if nothing else, it wakes people up to how they're being manipulated and used by a lot of these media folks, and how they stress test the information that they gather, and they get it from different damn sources, and don't get pulled into a filter bubble. And that's exactly why I go on these right-wing shows. It's why I listen to right-wing media. It's why I know what the hell Jesse Waters says about me.
I listen to right-wing media too. I think it's one of the most interesting things to listen to, because you just kind of see, you can, if you have a modicum of intelligence, you can just listen and be like, oh, okay, this is what they want me to hear, so I can cross-reference this with actual information.
Yeah, but look, I mean, millions and millions of people are persuaded by what they say, the bullshit and lies every single night. And that's why I'm trying to fight fire with fire. That's why I'm getting back, doing all these all-cap tweets and ending them with thank you for your attention to this matter. That's why I'm doing these AI videos. I know suboptimal, Connor, from your perspective, which I totally appreciate, and trying to put a mirror up to this absurdity and trying to break through in a communication that's trying to be, have a little bit of humor, because with respect, Democrats need to be, we're not the most, entertaining or humorous folks.
I think that I don't even think of it as Democrats. It's just
politicians.
Yeah, politicians in general don't really seem very funny for the most part. I think that's why I like you, is at least you're doing something. And I especially like that it's getting under Trump's skin. He's obviously very pissed about it. He hates your existence. He hates that you're a guy.
Yes. He does on all fronts. And he came up. It's funny. I had a conversation with him last time I talked to him, and it was an important conversation that I thought we were going to have. And the conversation begins with, "Hey, what do you think?" This is Trump talking. He goes, "Hey, what do you think? This new scum thing. It's pretty good, right?" Because he calls me new scum.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Pretty good. It's pretty original." I said, "It's not original." He goes, "What do you mean it's not original?" I said, "Brother, literally in 8th grade." I was called New Scum. I said, it's not original. And he was kind of hurt that it wasn't. He thought he had come up with something so original, so good. And so, but this is the President of the United States, is 79 years old, acting like a 7 or a 9-year-old.
I don't get him because like he literally had Meatball Ron, which was that hit. That was good. And then he like started calling him like Ron the Sanctimonious.
There you have it, folks. I really enjoyed that clip, and I was glad I could show it to you. Governor Newsom fighting back. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers, and thank you so much for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.